Class 12 Microeconomics. Key terms and definitions. Here are the definitions and explanations for the economic terms listed: costs and production metrics. Average cost. The total cost incurred by a firm divided by its total units of output. Average fixed cost. The total fixed cost per unit of output. Average variable cost. The total variable cost per unit of output. Average product. The total output produced per unit of the variable input employed. Cost function. A function showing the minimum cost a firm must incur for every possible level of output. Marginal cost. The change in total cost resulting from a one-unit change in output. Marginal product. The change in total output resulting from a one-unit change in a specific input, while all other inputs remain constant. Total cost. The sum of both total fixed costs and total variable costs. Total fixed cost. Costs a firm incurs regardless of output level, specifically to employ fixed inputs. Total variable cost. Costs a firm incurs specifically to employ variable inputs. Total product, or total physical product, total return. The level of output obtained from varying a single input while keeping all other inputs constant. Returns to scale and input definitions. Constant returns to scale. A property where increasing all inputs by a certain proportion results in an output increase by the same proportion. Decreasing returns to scale. A property where increasing all inputs by a certain proportion results in an output increase by a smaller proportion. Increasing returns to scale. A property where increasing all inputs by a certain proportion results in an output increase by a larger proportion. Fixed input. An input that cannot be changed or varied in the short run. Variable input. An input whose quantity can be adjusted or varied. Short run. A period of time where at least some factors of production are fixed. Long run. A period of time where all factors of production can be varied. Market dynamics and revenue. Average revenue. Total revenue divided by the number of units sold. Marginal revenue. The change in total revenue resulting from a one-unit change in the quantity sold. Total revenue. The market price of a good multiplied by the quantity sold by the firm. Total revenue curve. A graphical representation of the relationship between a firm's output level and its total revenue. Profit. The difference between a firm's total revenue and its total cost. Normal profit. The profit level required to cover both explicit costs and opportunity costs. Supernormal profit. Profit earned by a firm that exceeds normal profit. Break-even point. A point on the supply curve where a firm earns exactly normal profit. Shutdown point. In the short run, this is the minimum point of the average variable cost, AVC, curve. In the long run, it is the minimum point of the long-run average cost, LRAC, curve. Supply and demand curve. A graphical representation of the demand function, showing quantity demanded at each price. Demand function. Specifies the amount of a good a consumer chooses at different price levels, assuming other factors remain constant. Firm's supply curve. Shows the output levels a profit-maximizing firm will produce at various market prices. Market supply curve. The aggregate output levels all firms in a market will produce at different market prices. Excess demand. Occurs when market demand is greater than market supply at a specific price. Excess supply. Occurs when market supply is greater than market demand at a specific price. Price line. A horizontal line illustrating the relationship between market price and a firm's output level. Price elasticity of demand. The percentage change in demand divided by the percentage change in price. Price elasticity of supply. The percentage change in quantity supplied resulting from a 1% change in market price. Law of demand. If demand moves in the same direction as income, for a normal good, demand must be inversely related to price. Consumer behavior, budget line, represents all consumption bundles that cost exactly equal to a consumer's income. Budget set, the collection of all possible bundles a consumer can afford with their income at prevailing prices. Income effect, the change in optimal consumption of a good resulting from a change in purchasing power caused by a price change. Substitution effect, the change in optimal consumption of a good when its price changes, assuming income is adjusted so the consumer can still afford their original bundle. Indifference curve, a curve representing all bundles among which a consumer is indifferent. Monotonic preferences, preferences where a consumer always prefers a bundle that has more of at least one good and no less of another compared to an alternative. Normal good, a good for which demand increases as consumer income increases. Inferior good, a good for which demand decreases as consumer income increases. Market structures and other concepts, perfect competition, a market with many buyers, sellers who are price takers, all producing the same good. Monopoly, a market structure with a single seller and significant barriers to entry. Duopoly, a market consisting of exactly two firms. Oligopoly, a market structure with a few sellers. Monopolistic competition, a market with many sellers offering differentiated but substitutable products. Equilibrium, a state where the plans of all buyers and sellers in the market match. Price ceiling, a government-imposed maximum price limit. Price floor, a government-imposed minimum price limit. Opportunity cost, the value of the gain foregone from the next best alternative activity. Law of diminishing marginal product, the point at which the marginal product of an input begins to decline as more of that input is used while others remain fixed. Law of variable proportions, describes how marginal product initially rises with increased employment of a factor, then eventually falls after a certain level. Marginal revenue product, MRP, the marginal revenue multiplied by the marginal product of a factor. Value of marginal product, VMP, the market price of the good multiplied by the marginal product of a factor. Production function, shows the maximum output possible using different combinations of inputs. Isequent, a set of input combinations that yield the same maximum level of output. Would you like me to elaborate on the relationship between any of these specific economic concepts? That's Class 12 Microeconomics in a nutshell. Bookmark this video so you can loop back to it whenever you need a quick refresher before your next test. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and happy studying.